Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome aboard Life Launchpad, your go-to channel for practical advice and guidance to launch your dreams into reality. One thing that I realized while I was brainstorming, I was watching some of my videos, is I always do a different direction when I point, but we're gonna try and stick it to this way. Something I thought about would be throwing these little updates in the beginning of my videos every time, so that way, I just give you an update on what I'm doing. So I recently finished The Psychology of Money. Next read right now is Everyday Millionaires by Chris Hogan. So far, so good. No complaints. Enjoy it. Great book. Great knowledge. Been hitting the gym today. I hit pull, which was pretty nice. Great workout morning. Did some errands. I don't know why I said errands. Errands in the morning, and then now we're recording this video, which today is going to be on the topic of switching from consumer to producer. And you might be thinking, like, producer, what am I going to produce? Like, what? It's not necessarily all like figuratively, but it's switching the mindset. There is so much stuff in the world that we consume on a daily basis. You open your phone and you are like, there's marketing. Every time you swipe through social media, you're consuming the posts, you're consuming business. People are like trained and experts at making the posts that you consume that'll end up working best. And so you go about life just consuming most of the time, not thinking about it. One example I liked was you go to a coffee shop and you give them $3 to $5 for your coffee and more. I don't know, whatever you get. I don't get coffee. I don't drink coffee, but you give it and you grab the coffee without thinking. When you take a step back and look into it, and you realize that you could look at it and be like, well, how is this company making money? So it's like, they have to pay for the coffee, they have to pay for the cup, they have to pay for the machines, they have to pay for the worker, they have to pay for rent. You add up all these things and you start trying to get the value, like how much money they're making per cup of coffee. And that is really interesting, and you gotta start thinking about it. Once you start thinking about it, it's like you see a whole new perspective of how everything works, branding and stuff. But nonetheless, we're going to get into why you should do this to start off, and then I'll do more explaining. First reason is personal growth. When you start looking into life from a producer point of view rather than a consumer, you start realizing that there's so many more factors that go into things than you realize. Like, big companies pay advertising, marketing, sales, they do promotions, they have to do brand placement, all these different factors that are all covered by different people. There's teams working on this, and once you realize that, it's like you can realize that what you're consuming every day is just a product of all these different factors coming together and working out, and you can see how you can implement that into your own life. Instead of being a consumer, start producing something. You can start writing a journal. Producing doesn't mean necessarily selling to somebody. It means just creation. It's just creation. So I have a daily journal that I write in, and that's producing. I produce what my thoughts are, and I keep them on track. Something else I produce are these videos. I wanted to produce knowledge and education for people, so I started making these videos, and this is a type of production. So it's not necessarily exactly an actual product. Production can be anything that you envision it. The next thing is the realization and of how the world works. I was rambling on about that a little bit earlier, but you start realizing how different factors play into a role, into a business, how what leads to different events, and that starts adding up, and you get this bigger image building, and it's just like, wow, there's so much going on, and you before you even thought about it, you didn't know it was all going on, and you were just playing part of it. Next is contribution to society. When you produce, I said contribution to society. That's necessarily true. You can contribute to yourself, to your family, to your friends, but no matter what you produce, you can produce, I don't know, what I was saying, journal, that is a production for yourself. You're producing for yourself, you're letting out your thoughts, you're producing information. That's the word I was looking for. When you do for your family, when you start producing experiences, emotions, to good times with your friends. You do the same thing. You have to produce different things And that is important. But with all this being said, you're like, you might be thinking in your mind, it's just like, I'm supposed to keep producing all this stuff and, stop looking at being a huge consumer. How do I live life? Like, I mean, I'm wearing clothes. This is consumption. Like, I'm wearing a watch. I'm wearing a shirt. I'm like, this is like all consumption. Consumption is not a bad thing. It is the rate at which you consume it and how much. Like the rate and quantity. Like, if you're going on shopping sprees, spending hundreds of dollars every day, that is, unless that's for your like lifestyle, but then these videos aren't targeted at you. This is for like people that can't live, like, not can't, but like choose not to. That is not the right way to go about it. You want to limit your consumption to, make smarter and better financial decisions. And I wanted to touch on the point, like, you will have to consume in order to live. Like, it is a given fact. You have to consume food, so you have to go to a store and buy it. You have to consume, like, no matter what you do, like, you leave your house and you're consuming media. People, like, stores putting marketing, like, their names above their place. That is consuming advertising. That is advertising. You always will be consuming. It's just the way you look at that consumption and how much you consume it. That is all I really want you to realize and start thinking about, in your life. The next thing I want to talk about is setting goals. Like, the main issue with consumption nowadays is social media and, technology is taking over. So, social media is everywhere. You might have but like multiple different social media, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, I don't even know, Pinterest, stuff like that. And you might be spending hours and hours on this day. All you're doing is consuming when you, in reality, could be producing. Like, I'm not saying I'm any different. I spend my share of time on social media apps, talking to friends, consuming stuff that's posted, YouTube. Something that I enjoy watching right now is poker videos. Like, I enjoy watching poker. I'm consuming this, but this material I like. Mainly I do this while I'm doing cardio, spend my time so I can do two things at once. But if you can find a way to incorporate production as well, it is all the better. Like, I had a little series end of last year. I did a 50-day challenge where it was like 7 tasks for 50 days. It was like wake up, learn something new, read, go to the gym, meditate, work on your business, and consume a healthy diet. And I did that for 50 days, and I kept progress, and I posted these videos on TikTok to show people how I was doing. And I was producing educational videos, and now I do that on a daily basis pretty much. So it can transform your life for sure, and I definitely want you to contribute that. So with that, this leads me to my next point of setting goals. Set goals for yourself. Do something, what you want to produce, like what you want to produce, because everybody has the capability to produce something. If it's a degree in education, if it's getting a job, if it's a certain money amount, financial decisions, savings, relationships, all these different things, set goals and work towards them. I'm going to make another video about setting goals and why goals are so important, and why, I don't know, like the question why people don't set goals themselves as a whole separate video, because that's a huge topic that you can go on and on about. And then finally is taking action. One thing that I caught myself in was this loop of, I forgot what the exact term it was. Man, I wish I could tell you what it was. Oh, the self-help junkies. It was, I saw this term by Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate said this term. And it was like the people that read the books, watch the videos, are always talking about it and always like saying they're going to do something, like to help themselves in growth. And I was like, gee, wow. That is literally me. And I watch all these videos, I read all these books, but I don't take action. And that is the most important stuff. If you don't take action towards anything, you're going to stay stagnant. It's just going to be a plateau. Nothing's happening. As soon as you start making action, it might be just, the most subtle increase. But little by little, it can increase. And next thing you know, it's an exponential growth. And you're taking off. And that's that. So with all my points being covered and the video in conclusion, one thing I want you to do today is go, when you see yourself outside, look at something and think about what went into it, what production went into it. And like, analyze, be like, okay, did they do the marketing? What did they do? They probably had a team working on this. They had to hire somebody. They had to make a graphic designer. You know, if you're looking at posts, graphic design. It's just a whole different world that you can open your mind to, and definitely encourage everybody to think, at least take a couple seconds to realize it. With that being said, thank you for tuning in another video. Make sure to never stop learning, growing, and launching towards your dreams. The power to grow is within you. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.